Hello again, everybody, back with another video. This time a long overdue video of someone that I once thought was a friend of myself and my brother. But there was a video made, I think originally by Justin H. And looking back, a very good expose video, Justin, so thanks for that. But at the time, I sided with what I thought was my friend, a guy that called himself Adam. Whether or not he's called Adam or not, I don't really know. And I don't really care now, but I'm going to call him Level Earth Observer or Leo. And I'm not going to do a character assassination on this person. I'm just going to highlight the fact that he is a controlled opposition agent and a tea drinking agent and part of the tea drinking program, which I now accept is very, very real. And if you open your eyes, it's in your face. And one of the key things is these people keep mentioning tea, and I'll go through that too. But this guy was meant to be a friend. I sided with him originally. I apologise to Christian Resurrection and to Justin H for not opening my eyes and seeing through this guy. So let's take a look at this guy and some of the things he's pushing now, which are absolutely ridiculous. He keeps mentioning globe mathematics, but he isn't using those. He's using them very, very badly. Now, the one thing I do know is he's quite bright, and I don't think he would accidentally make such glaring errors and deceptions. These are deceptions, I'm sure. And he's also re-established his little fight with his friend Simon Dan, and I believe one of this guy's key functions is to produce videos that can be easily shot down and discredited by these mega ball defending channels like Simon Dan. And I remember when I was talking to him, I said, "You must be mad to go anywhere near Simon Dan. You're just making basically yourself a fool guy." And he agreed, and he's re-established his little battle with Simon Dan. So I think some of the ludicrous videos I'm going to cover here is probably already being lined up by one of these mega shield channels like Simon Dan. And Simon Dan, by the way, is 33 in numerology. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, one of the big things he talks about is his channel being suppressed by YouTube. And at one time, he lost all his subs apparently, and his numbers did, because I remember him telling us, and I looked and his subs are gone, and then they came back again. Now, I've never known that happen with anybody. I know I don't get many subs increase, and they do go up and down like a yo-yo, but this guy's all disappeared, and I think that was all part of YouTube and him giving himself some credibility. But let's move on. So here's Leo's channel on the 1st of June 2019, and he stood at 1,434 subscribers. So not bad, but if this channel's suppressed, he should be not far away from that now. So there's various protestations of channel censorship. So here's 3 of them, and I'll just now play a little caption from each one of those. So here we go, let's take that away.
Just want to show you something. Censorship is alive and well, but only for small channels. Doesn't affect the big channels, it just affects small channels sticking to fundamental truths. Funny that, innit? My latest video, Flat Earth, water destroys the globe fantasy. Games the control mechanisms. Google hides my... Check this out. We saw this the other week. Level Earth Observer. We do a search. We get the YouTube come up. It's the only YouTube channel up. Got Plane Ranger there. Scott, good channel. Visit him. The only Level Earth Observer channel still is a cloned channel. A retarded clone channel. So Google are still hiding my channel. It's really just a document. I'm being censored by YouTube again. obviously my channel. Top 2 uploads. One with our mate in the green fleece was from yesterday, just over a day old. And today's video, which is a mirror, having a bit of fun. And that video they've actually hidden in their search engine, which we're going to search for now. So we go.
Okay, so you can see quite a few videos about his channel Suppression. Now here's his channel today. So bear in mind that was the 1st of June. So what's that? June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, or half of January. So there we go. That's 7.5 months. He's actually put on 1,540 subs. So he's over doubled his subs. Now, a Genuine Truth channel has no chance these days of doing that. No chance. So let's have a look at some of his tea drinking comments in the videos. And there's 3 videos here. So let's take it away with this one. This is where he's up on a crane and he's watching his tea vibrate. Now, what that's got to do with flat earth or level earth, who knows? I think it's more about expressing his code to his friend.
Morning, this is an old bit of footage I just stumbled across. It involves a cup of tea, a tower crane and a 360 digger. These vibrations in my cup of tea, my very nice cup of tea. We got a digger about 120 metres away breaking out some ground for the landscape company. You can see how those vibrations are going into the ground, travelling about 120 metres across the ground, hitting the base of the crane, and then travelling 140 feet up the tower to wobble and vibrate my cup of tea.
And here's another one, this time looking at direct line of sight transmission from the BT Tower in Birmingham to the BT Tower in London. And guess what he mentions in this? Well, take a look now.
Let's have a listen to that lovely lady just before we go. Could you just destroy the globe for me, my dear, just before I have a nice chamomile cup of tea to relax and refresh?
There you go. And finally, we'll come back to this one because this one's got some ludicrous cranes in, but I'll just play the tea reference in this one. So let's take it away.
Can you imagine the amount of stress on that nose, the nose of the Concorde, with the nose totally straight out at 0 degrees if it was having to drop 330 feet a second? Can you imagine having a cup of tea on Concorde, doing Mach 2, but dropping 330 feet a second?
So there you go. 3 tea references. It was one, and I remember the first one. It was just at the time, just before he decided to ditch myself and my brother, which I'm quite thankful for. So thanks for that. And thanks for warning us about people like you on the internet and befriending them. I'm not going to be nasty in any way, but I'm just calling out the facts here. So let's have a look now at some of his misinformation. Now, Leo is a crane driver and he constantly talks about tower cranes destroying the globe, and I'm guilty of not really looking into this properly the first time he started to put these up, and I thought he had something going for it, but I've since looked this up and he is incorrect. He's basically claiming that the hook and loads that are dangling from the tower crane should swing spontaneously like the Foucault pendulum does if the heliocentric system was reality. And he basically says the fact it doesn't swing means that we don't live on a ball. Now, I don't believe we live on a ball, but I do believe it's very important to understand globe science and also other things like the deceptive Foucault pendulum. Now, this pendulum is deliberately set in motion, and it's maintained in motion with electromagnets. And if we look on this diagram here, you've got it swinging from left to right and right to left, but over time during the day, it's that swing direction that rotates. It doesn't say the pendulum swings all by itself due to the rotation of the Earth, which is a common misconception. But of course, it is fake. And if they're admitting they use electromagnets, then it doesn't stop them sequentially activating other electromagnets to make that swing move around. You just have different electromagnets at different diagonal meets on the circumference, and you switch them over and you make that pendulum rotate, and that's what they do. But to claim tower cranes prove we're not spinning on a ball is ludicrous, and it's there to make you look stupid, which is this guy's role. Okay, and there's no doubt 100% this guy is a controlled agent. So let's have a look at his next deception. Okay, so what he's claiming, and we'll play the video next, Concorde would have needed to have been dropping at 330 feet per second to follow the curve of a ball Earth when flying at 1,350 miles per hour. Oh, it's 50,000 foot altitude. So here's the video. If you want to go and have a look at it, please go and look at his channel. Give it a thumbs down, please. I can thumbs it down, but I can't make any comments because I'm blocked. Well, I can. On YouTube, the comment appears whilst you're on your channel. You can look at it. You come out off your channel and try and see it. It's gone. So this is ludicrous, but let's have a look at what Leo says.
Now, in the Concorde's case, travels at 1,354 miles an hour. Essentially, the Concorde has to encounter 225 miles of supposed curvature an hour. If we break that down to a more manageable chunk, every single minute the Concorde flies at full speed, according to the Globe mathematics, the Concorde has to drop 19,812 feet. That's 3.7 miles. The Concorde has to drop every 60 seconds to remain level on a ball. So 3.7 miles every 60 seconds the Concorde has to drop to remain level on a ball. Now, if the Earth was a ball, according to the Globe mathematics, every second the Concorde flies at full speed, for it to remain level on a ball, the Concorde needs to drop 330 feet per second. Let that sink in. Every single second the Concorde flew at full speed, if the Earth was a globe, the Concorde would have needed to have dropped 330 feet per second. Let that sink in. The Concorde needs to drop 330 feet per second to remain level on the ball, i.e. on the globe. Curving away on average per second, according to the Globe mathematics, 330 feet per second, the ground is curving away from the Concorde. Is the plane every second needs to drop 330 feet every second, i.e. it would be changing by 330 feet every single second. The Concorde needs to drop 330 feet on average per second to remain level on a ball. It's quite obvious the Concorde is not dropping 330 feet a second. When it has to drop 330 feet a second to accommodate the daft globe's supposed curvature, with the nose totally straight out at 0 degrees if it was having to drop 330 feet a second. Can you imagine having a cup of tea on Concorde, doing Mach 2, but dropping 330 feet a second? Imagine that.
Okay, so he is very incorrect in that. And despite his drop 33 code numerous times, if you look at 1350 miles per hour, that's 22.5 miles per minute. And he's talking about using globe mathematics, and he's using them very badly. If we want to bring that down to miles per second, which is a better figure to understand, it's 0.375 miles per second. So if you were to use the curve calculator, and this is one I've generated myself, but it agrees with all the online ones. We enter a height of 0 because we want to look at the curve drop, and put in 0.375 miles, and we get 0.09 feet. And 0.09 feet is 1.1 inches per second. That's not 330 feet, Leo. And basically, the curve calculation isn't really a good one to use because it's about a starting point, something going around a curve, and from that tangent, which is meant to be the horizon when we do the calculations, as an object moves further down the curve, it's effectively accelerating away from that line. So basically, this is not a linear relationship. This would have to be a straight line for these to be linear. It's a squared relationship. But what he's trying to work out is over an hour it would travel this far, and then dividing this squared relationship by 60 to get a per second value. You can't do that because this is a squared function. You can't take a squared function and equally divide it. In fact, the pitch angle change per second is really what you should use. And if you followed a ball Earth, we're doing 0.375 miles per second, and we've got 69.1 miles per degree of rotation on the ball Earth on the surface. So divide the one by the other, the actual pitch change angle required to follow a curve is 0.005 degrees. Now, I believe it's flying level, and there isn't a curved Earth, but you have to follow the mathematics, and that is not a massive pitch change angle. So on a ball, it's quite possible. And I'm sure that Leo isn't daft enough to make such a big mistake. I think it's more about the 330 and the code and giving people a pile of shite. And you look through the comments on his video and they're all blowing smoke up his ass, and he deletes anything that challenges it, or he blocks people. Why he blocked me and my brother, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody could see that something like this was going to happen, and I wasn't going to sit back and ignore it and was going to come back with a video. So let's move on. Now, he's got an even bigger ludicrous claim this time, and this one says the International Fake Station, that's what I call it, would need to drop 3.8 miles per second to follow the curve of a ball Earth when orbiting at 17,500 miles per hour. Now, if you do your orbital maths, and I've made it my effort to understand orbits and orbital theory. Now, at 250 miles orbit, the actual speed is 17,150 miles per hour. But Leo, throughout this video, will make this claim 3.8 miles per second. Yeah? Way, way faster than a bullet, and it's meant to be dropping. It's going to crash, isn't it? It's a joke. How can he even say this? Yeah, it's ludicrous. But he's clearly got his maths wrong. But incidentally, you'll see in this, if we add 17 and 5, we get 22. If we add a 3, we get 25. And if we add an 8, we get 33. So 17 plus 5 plus 3 plus 8 gives us 33. And this is mentioned throughout the video. So let's just take a look.
We are expected to believe these people on screen are travelling 17,500 miles an hour, according to the claims being made and the globe mathematics, okay? Because of the globe mathematics, apparently, every hour, these people are encountering 13,983 miles of curve per hour. I'm going to break that down to a second. We are expected to believe these people on screen are travelling 17,500 miles an hour, but at the same time, to account for this spacecraft staying the same altitude around the globe, it needs to drop 3.8 miles a second to remain the same altitude as it goes round the ball Earth. Doing 17,500 miles an hour through a vacuum, whilst at the same time you're dropping 3.8 miles a second. You expect me to believe you guys are there doing 17,500 miles an hour at the same time dropping 3.8 miles a second, and you're there. No amount of hairspray, my dear, is going to tell me or justify to me that you are dropping 3.8 miles a second to remain the same altitude whilst you're doing 17,500 miles an hour round a ball. Working on a spacecraft that's doing 17,500 miles an hour through a vacuum, whilst it's dropping 3.8 miles a second.
Okay, so he's incorrect, of course. Now I'm going to stick to the right figures. So let's take 17,150 miles an hour, 250 miles up. That's 286 miles per minute, or 4.76 miles per second. So let's take the 4.76 miles per second and let's use his curve drop calculation. And it actually comes to 15.1 feet. 15 feet per second is not 3.8 miles. It's worlds apart, Leo. And also I showed, if you read that caption that went through earlier, that the actual value isn't 3.8 using your method of calculations, it's 1.4. So you're wrong on every count. How much do you want to deceive, Leo? Why are you doing this? And one of the ball shills has actually made a comment on your video saying that this is wrong and coming up with a very similar figure to this. And what did you do with that comment, Leo? You deleted it. You deleted it and you are still pushing this nonsense. And again, curve drop is not really the correct calculations. It's a squared function. So you've taken an hour's worth, 17,550 miles, worked out a curve drop and divided it by 60 and divided it by 60. You can't do that. It's a squared relationship. Pitch change angle again is the correct one to use. And if the ISS was following a ball, firstly it would be agreeing with orbital calculations based on gravity at 9.81 meters per second. Well, at ground level it reduces as you go up according to the globe calculations, but I'm trying to use globe maths here. And the orbital equation with something attached to a piece of string or a tether swinging it round is correct. Where it falls down is when you've got it balanced between velocity and this gravitational force, and it's on a fine knife edge. And orbits just wouldn't work. But you've got to stick to their maths. So the pitch angle change would be 4.76 and a 250 mile orbit. The 1 degree of rotation of that extra large, the larger circle is 73.5 miles. So 4.76 divided by 73.5, which is a 1 degree orbital rotation from the centre of the Earth, gives us a pitch change angle of 0.065 degrees. Nothing great about that. This fits in with the orbital calculations. So if you're going to do this, you do it properly, you use the maths, you don't make ludicrous claims like this. So I'll just show you now that comment by the shill, which I copied, and then you deleted it. So let's take a look at that. No, it clearly is a ball shill with a name like that, Brett T777. But he was basically saying it's about 5 miles a second. I got 4.76 and I got 15 feet, and he's saying the curve drop for that per second, that 5 miles per second, is 16.5 feet. So Brett is correct and you are wrong, Leo. You are very wrong, Leo. Okay, so in conclusion, Leo is a tea-drinking, controlled opposition agent. And I hope I've proven that to you. Okay, so nothing more to say on this. So I'm not going to be looking at what he's making again. That's it, I'm done. But I needed to make this video. So that's the end, folks. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.